Hello everyone. Today there is one more question on Newton's laws of motion. Let us see that question. So find the acceleration of masses m1, m2 and m3 as shown in the figure just after the string is cut at point A. Here the string is being cut at point A and we have to find the acceleration just after the string is cut. Okay. Now if you see here, if I cut the string at this point A, which is given in the question, now we have to find the accelerations of this M3 block, this M2 block as well as this M1 block. Okay. Now we have to understand here one thing. The moment when we cut the block A, so what will happen to this tensions in the string? The tensions immediately they will become 0. So once the tensions become 0, this M3 block will fall down due to acceleration due to gravity, and this M2 block also will try to come down with some acceleration A2. But what about this M1 block? The M1 block will not move immediately because the spring stiffness will not make this M1 block to move immediately just after the cut. But after some time, this M1 block may also acquire some acceleration. Okay. Now we have to find out the acceleration of all these individual blocks. Now we have come to know that the acceleration of this M1 block is 0 because of the stiffness, the spring stiffness which is making this block to be in the equilibrium position. Okay. So whereas M2 block will move downwards with an acceleration A2 and M3 block also will move with acceleration A3. So already we know that this acceleration A3 is equals to G, but let us find out mathematically whether it is G or not also. Okay. Now let us draw the free body diagrams for all the blocks. Okay. So before going to that, we'll just consider all these tensions T so that you'll get a good clarity on this. So this is also tension T and this is the spring force Fs, and upwards this is also spring force Fs. Okay. But the moment when you cut it, the tension in this string will become 0, whereas the tension in the string will become 0. What do you mean by tension in the string is 0? The string will get slacked. Okay. So here also the tension is 0. But here spring force is not 0 just after the cut. Okay. Maybe after some time that also maybe become 0. Okay. Now let us take the free body diagram of all the individual blocks. So first I am taking free body diagram of M1 block. So the free body diagram of M1 block looks like this. So M1, and this block due to acceleration due to gravity will acquire some weight which is M1 times G, and also spring force Fs. And anyhow, I told you the acceleration of A1 block is 0 because of the spring stiffness. Okay. Now, if I write the F net equation, F net equals to mass times acceleration. Okay. Anyhow, here acceleration is 0. So F net is how much? M1G or Fs equals to M1G. Okay. So because of this equal and opposite forces, spring force is equals to M1G. The block will be under the rest. Okay. Now let us take the free body diagram of M2 block. Okay. So if I take the free body diagram of M2 block, so this is M2, and in this M2 block there is spring force which is downwards Fs, and also there will be the weight of this block which is M2 multiplied by G, and tension upwards is anyhow 0. Okay. And acceleration is where? Acceleration is downwards. Okay. Now if you write F net equals to mass times acceleration, so this is the second mass I am taking and this is acceleration into I am taking. Okay. Now if you observe over here, this will become what? Fs plus M2G is equals to M2 multiplied by 8. Okay. Already we know the value of Fs, which is equals to M1G plus M2G, which is equals to M2 multiplied by 8. Okay. Now if I take G as common here in this equation, we will get G times of M1 plus M2, which is equals to M2 multiplied by A2. So from here I can write A2 equals to G times of M1 plus M2 whole divided by M2. Okay, still you can simplify it further. So G times of M1 by M2 plus M2 by M2. Okay, so this M2 will get cancelled over there. So A2 equals to G times of, we can write it as M1 by M2 plus 1. Okay, so this is your acceleration A2. Okay, now let us go to free body diagram of M3 block. So FBD of M3 block. So if you take the FBD of M3 block, so this is your M3 block, and where is the acceleration? So which is downwards, A3, and the tension here is 0, and the tension upwards is 0. The only force that is going to be acted over here is M3 into G. Again, for this, if you write F net equals to mass times acceleration, so the mass you are taking over here is M3 and acceleration is A3. Okay. Now F net is nothing but M3 into G, which is equals to M3 into A3. Okay. So if we cancel M3 and M3, from this A3 equals to G, which is what we have said it before, that is intuition, which is nothing but A3 equal to G, and also mathematical also it is A3 equal to G. So from this entire solution, we can identify that when the string is cut at A, just after the string is cut at A, the accelerations of A1 is 0 and A2 is G times of M1 by M2 plus 1, and A3 is nothing but G. Okay. I hope you understand. If you need still any clarification, please comment. Okay. Thank you.